Woo! Let's go! Habs win 4-3 against the Seattle Kraken in Seattle, and that means we both won games. We won both games against the Seattle Kraken this season. Let's go! They've been a team that has not been good in the last few seasons, although albeit this season they're like at the top of the Pacific. But even when they haven't been their best, they've been a thorn in the Habs side. Like they've beaten us pretty badly few times. I remember it being like 7-2 or something like that last season, and then when we went to Seattle, they won in OT in 4 seconds, you know? So like it feels good to beat them now, you know? Let's go. Caufield with the clutch goal at the end of OT. What a stud. Like he now has 11 goals in OT in whatever many games he's played, and he's has the record for Habs most OT games, most OT winners. So yeah, he's just so good when there's extra space. But let's talk about the game, because there was a lot to go through, and a very well played game overall, with, you know, some caveats there at the end where you're like, oh, I wish they had played a little bit more defensively, or better defensively. Game was tough. For us viewers, West Coast games are difficult. West Coast trip is difficult for the team. It's difficult for the viewers. We got through it. Very little sleep, but hey, we love this team, so that's what we're here for. Oof, it was rough, but let's go. All right, so first period is Dobish, first of all, that gets the start. So yeah, you write the hot goalie, right? You that makes sense. Now the question is who starts Saturday, because the next Habs game is Saturday against Ottawa, so you have 4 days, I think, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, yeah, 3 days off, and then the next game on Saturday, right? So you have a lot of time, and you could theoretically play Dobish again, because, you know, he's probably rested enough in 3 days. But when do you play Monty? Like, you need to play Monty at some point if you wanna give him a chance to show he's back on form, you know, and he's had time to practice now, so maybe you wanna play him. But well, I'll get more into the Ottawa game in after I'm done with the Seattle game, because there's a lot I want to say about it. So we start the game, and we're out there flying like we've been in the last few games, which is great to see. So we get out there, we're flying circles around the Kraken. They get a few chances here and there, but like their shots were not dangerous at all. Dobish was getting them very easily. Dobish had a few times where he caught the puck, he put it on the ice. One of them was on the power play, the Seattle power play, and he was like trying to kill a little bit more time. He did it again where he just had it there and then he covered it, and then he did it one more time and he actually kept the play alive. So I kind of like that he does that, you know, like has the option. Obviously has to be very careful with it. He cannot, you know, fumble it or take too long, because you don't want to get scored on like that. But I do like the initiative of being like, hey, you know, there's nobody pressuring, there's nobody in front of me, we can play this puck, we can keep possession of this and not risk a face-off in front of me, you know. So I actually enjoyed that. Anyways, so the shots from the Seattle Kraken are mostly from the outside, and I like how well defensively the Habs were playing. We were keeping them on the outside. We were making their possession difficult, and we were keeping possession of the puck ourselves. We had so much O-zone possession. We were able to cycle it, and whenever our first line is out there, especially with Hudson, but even with Dobson and Matheson also, so like you have 2 possible defense pairings where that works. Like our first line is just so dominant. We are able to keep the puck so long in there. And Seattle was matching their top line of Beniers against our Evans, Gallagher, Anderson line, which actually kind of works in our favor, because our first line was able to dominate whatever line they were matching against them. And Evans, Anderson, and Gallagher are good defensively. Like, so if you want to match any line against someone else's first line, like that's the line we match, right? So I don't know why Seattle was doing that, or if it was some Martin St. Louis magic, you know. But it played out in our favor, I think. So our first line was very, very dominant, and we get a goal pretty fast. Probably you guys all watched the goal, so I don't even need to go through it, but I'm talking about the Dobson to Suzuki behind Dacord, and Caufield puts it in the empty net. First of all, I think Suzuki was going for, everybody says like, oh, he's so good, like he found Caufield so easily. I think Suzuki was trying to bank it off the goalie and in, and I think Caufield just positioned himself properly because he maybe knows that he's gonna try to do that, so he positions himself in case it doesn't go in from the goalie. Because I don't know, I don't think Suzuki saw Caufield, you know, or maybe he just really does know that he's always gonna be there, but I do believe he was trying to bank it off the goalie. We'll see. Anyways, I wanted to mention that Dobson pinches in and Slav is the one covering for Dobson. That could have gone pretty bad. Could have gone completely the other way, because Dobson pitches in, Slav is covering, but as soon as Dobson has possession, Slav changes direction and goes back towards the net, leaving the spot, where Dobson is supposed to be, or the defenseman is supposed to be, completely open. If Dobson had gotten the puck taken away from him, there was nobody there. I think Slav needs to realize that. I needs to, because it's the second time he does it also. Like, I've noticed it, I think it was against the Calgary, in the Calgary game, that he also was covering for the defenseman, but then would pinch up without someone covering for him. This time he was going to cover for the defenseman gets the puck, and he immediately goes up again, and nobody covers that space, because Dobson still had the puck. I think Slavkovsky needs to play the defense there, needs to stay there until someone can switch places with him again. Because if we got an unlucky bounce, so if Dobson has the puck taken away from him, could have been a very good chance for the Kraken the other way. Thankfully, it worked out in our favor. You know, Dobson goes, gives the pass to Suzuki, Caufield in, right? So no complaints, obviously, but I think Slav can be a little bit better there, or he got a little too hasty to go back in full offense mode. Just my 2 cents, you know. Anyways, we continue the period, and we get power plays. Actually, I want to talk about the power plays, the good and the bad. So power plays for both sides. We score in a power play, you know, beautiful play. Hudson, Suzuki, Caufield, Slavkovsky in, you know, beautiful tic-tac-toe play. Excellent. And our power play, I think last game was 2 for 2, so 100%. Excellent. Since moving the mid up to power play 1, it's been a lot better. Even though our second power play goal was a horrible power play, it went in. So we're still, you know, at a very good percentage since putting the mid up in the first power play unit. You know, numbers don't lie, right? But we do get into a lot of penalty trouble. Like, it was Caufield, I think, at first. Then it was Veleno. Then I think it was Bolduc. We gave them multiple chances of power plays, and they scored a 1 at the end, right? So, and that's how they start their comeback. We were up by 3 goals, and in 10 minutes they scored 3 on us. So even though we were playing sound defensively the first 2 periods and most of the third, we gave them a chance to come back. And I think it's that game plan that we have when we're in the lead, that we try to, you know, like, put the puck in the corner too much, and we kind of forget about that. Having offense without risk, you can have offense without risk, but having the puck in your stick means they don't have it themselves, so they can't generate anything, right? So I think when we're ahead, we let our offense go too much, and as soon as we have the puck, we put it in the corner and try to kill time that way. But I don't think, I think that works to an extent. Obviously, you don't want to risk plays, and it's better to put it in the corner than risk something. I think Demidov had a few pucks where he tried to do something and where he could have just put it along the boards, and the Kraken were able to keep the play in our zone in those last 10 minutes. I don't think it went to it accounted for any of their more dangerous chances. But yeah, you don't want that. So okay, I understand just putting it in the corner better than risking it. But there were a few times where we put it in the corner where we could have kept it, where we could have, chased after the dump. We were just dumping and giving them the puck over and over again. And like, sometimes it works. It has worked in the past. But you're just giving them the puck and you're giving them, a chance to get their feet moving and a chance to get something going. I don't like it. I don't like it. I prefer when we keep the puck in our stick, when we keep the puck and make them fight for it. And then sure, like if you're the last man and you don't see a pass, okay, put it in the corner, give them the puck then, but maybe send someone to chase, send someone for the forecheck, so it makes their exit more difficult. Like the first 2 periods we were great because we were doing that. We were making their exits really difficult, so they were giving the puck back to us it was easy for us to take the puck away, and we would continue our play. They didn't get many chances. They didn't get the puck that much. I think they only had 6 shots the first 30 minutes of the game or something like that, because we were playing that well. So I don't know how tired they get by the third period, the Habs, maybe there's a reason they can't keep doing that, but I just don't like when we're in the lead and we try to keep the lead. It has backfired on us way too many times. I think they need a different approach there. Yes, all 3 of those goals were good goals for the Kraken, and none of them were at 5-on-5 because they scored on the power play, they scored on the 4-on-4, and then they scored with the empty net at 6-on-5, right? So in theory, we didn't get scored on 5-on-5, but we need to be better. We need to be able to close those games without risking OT, because even though we have been amazing in OT, I think we've won 8 games, 4 of those in regulation, 4 of those in OT. So we've been good in OT. It's still a toss-up. Like if you were ahead in the game and you go to OT and you lose it, that's not great. That's not good at all. Worse, like in the Oilers game, if you're ahead all game and then you don't even get to go to OT and you lose in regulation. But let's not talk about that again. Or was I? Yeah. So don't like our defensive strategy when we're in the lead too much. Like I said, it's backfired one too many times, and I would like to see us keep the puck in our stick more. Yeah. Anyway, so individual performances. I really like Dak's game. I enjoyed watching Dak try to do he had a very good chance where he cuts in, fakes cutting in, goes out, and then cuts in and tries to put it far on that cord, and that cord makes a really good stop. He was good. The cord was really good. He stopped a few really good chances, a few really good shots. I think one was from Slavkovsky that got a one-timer off. Suzuki also got a one-timer off. Oh, Suzuki almost scored on a post. A very nice play by Slavkovsky. Oh, sorry. I was talking about Dak. I'll go to Slav in a second. Dak was also amazing defensively, and I love to see that. He was getting a little bit bullied physicality-wise, and for such a big guy, he doesn't play big, and you can, again, comparing to Slav, you could say the same for Slav the first few seasons he was there, but he is now playing a little bigger, and Dak supposedly is more of a veteran than Slavkovsky is, so you wish he was throwing the body more or using his big frame more. But yeah, he fell on the ice a couple times from being hit. I know he puts himself in situations where he gets hit a little too many times, and how injury prone he is, you kind of wish he took a little bit more care of himself, or prepare more to get hit. I feel like he puts himself in those situations and then somehow doesn't expect he's gonna get hit heavily. You react differently when you know a hit is coming. When you know a hit is coming, you brace yourself, right? I get the feeling that Dak does not brace himself. I don't know. That's just, again, my opinion on it. But he had a really good game. He had a really good defensive game. He covers well for defense. He was back checking hard. He was forward checking hard too, and he was making these beautiful plays, like power moves towards the net. So his face-offs have been good. Very promising. Very promising. Hopefully he can keep it up. That fourth line still not clicking too much. You know, the Dak, Bolduc, Veleno. I do like having Dak with Veleno because you have like two centers, sort of, and you can whatchamacallit? You can choose which one you have for the face-off depending on which side of the face-offs you're taking. So like, yeah, it's a good face-off line. And it's a talented enough line. Like Veleno he had a really good camp. He had a really good preseason. I'm starting to see why he's in the fourth line and why he got waived, or you know, like why he hasn't made it big in the NHL. Because one too many pucks that he was losing, one too many opportunities that went on his stick and then completely died. You know, he's fast. He negated a few icings because he was using his speed well. He's physical. He has good face-offs and whatnot. Just there's something there that I'm just like, yeah, why is this line not clicking? Like Dak is playing well, Bolduc is good. I don't know. Anyways, that Bolduc is playing okay as well. You know, he's not put in an easy situation now. But for example, they were saying there was a moment where the commentators were saying how our fourth line got stuck out there, and they were playing against the Kraken's first line. I didn't feel too worried. Like, yes, it was our fourth line, but our fourth line is still, you know, fairly solid defensively and offensively. Like, I wasn't too worried, and yeah, nothing came out of it. Actually, I think we won the face-off. Had a good zone exit, and then they were able to change, no problem. You know, like that's not a fourth line that I'm terrified when it's out there. So at least there's that going for them, I guess. But offensively, I don't know. They haven't put it together yet. Maybe there's something there. Maybe they will figure each other out. You know, like how to play with each other. But they don't generate much offensively unless it's Dak rushing the net like that, or Bolduc, you know, threatening a shot. But whenever you include Veleno in the offensive part of it, yeah. Kapanen, Demidov, and Newhook. Newhook's been so good. I praised him a few days ago, and he still continues to be really good. I think Demidov had a more slower game. I think he was good defensively, but he didn't get many chances offensively. He was not able to find space and time. It's the NHL. Like he's not gonna have that much space and time every time. But he has been able to generate it for himself sometimes. Not this game. It's fine. He'll figure it out. You know, we all know how good he is. Had a few puck touches that I was like, yeah. That could have been better, like the one on the boards that I mentioned, where he tried to cross it on the ice or make something pretty, you know, like a nice zone exit, and it ended up in the Kraken's stick again, and they were able to continue their play. Oh, Newhook he was giving the puck away pretty badly the first 5 minutes of the game or something. He recovered after that, but I remember being like, hey, what's he doing? He didn't start well. And Kapanen is just so solid, so reliable. Like, you know what you're getting out of him, you know. So he had a pretty nice shot actually. Also, he was able to put a lot of speed and power into his shot. He just barely missed the net. Yeah, so I think on the Gallagher, Anderson, Evans line, they were playing mostly defensively. I think Anderson had a couple good rush chances here and there. I think he had a good shot also. Yeah, but you know, I personally don't expect a lot offensively from that line. It's more like a energy / defensive minded line. If they can generate some offense, and like that's great, right? Like Gallagher has been good offensively to start the season, and he does generate a few chances here and there just from, you know, like willpower and dogging people, like being the dog he is. He generates some stuff, but yeah, with Evans and Anderson, like, you're probably not gonna get a lot of finishing from those chances. So whatever offense they're able to generate is a plus in my opinion, but just them being a defensive staple is what you want from them, right? Because you have so much offense already from their first two lines, or the Suzuki and Kapanen line, that a lot of teams are struggling to match every single one of our lines. Like you saw in the game, and like against Vancouver and Edmonton and the Kraken, that at least one of our lines is going to dominate, and none of our lines are getting dominated. You know, like it's either a fair matchup on 3 out of 4, and then we usually win the last one, and one of our lines dominates out there. Because all of our lines are, you know, fairly good, like I said. So what do? You put your defensive minded line. If you're playing against the Habs, what do? You put your stalwart defense against Suzuki line. They've been one of the best lines in the NHL, period. Okay, they might, and you might suffocate them a little bit, and you know, maybe they're not going to generate that many chances. Okay, what do you do now about against the Kapanen in the mid of New Hook line? They have so much speed, so much skill also. All right, okay, maybe you had a second defensive line that can match them well. All right, now you have a Dak Bolduc. They're also really good threats, and Veleno, you know, is fast and supports them a little bit. And otherwise, you leave Evans, Gallagher, and Anderson completely open, you know, and like they will dominate a fourth line that is just energy, you know. So I really like how we come out in waves. How, like, if our first line didn't generate much on that one shift, then the next line maybe they have a good chance too, you know. It's not the Habs that we saw in the past where it was just the first line, and whenever they were not in the ice, you kind of could look away because nothing was going to happen. Like if you were watching the Habs in 2022, like if Suzuki and Caufield were not out there, you could just go do something else because nothing was going to happen. Nobody else was generating anything. Now, if our first line did not generate something in that shift, and if they're not in the ice, you still feel that something might happen offensively for us, that we might still get a good chance here and there. You know, like I said, a second power play was not the best. Was not beautiful. The Kraken were pretty good at shutting down our first power play unit, and our second unit was not generating much, but lucky bounce and it goes in. I mean, lucky bounce on the pass, and then New Hook puts it in, right? But still, you know, our power play numbers don't lie, and they've been pretty good since putting the middle on the first power play unit. So pretty happy to see that. Anyways, so that's it for the Kraken game. I enjoyed it. I did not want it to go to OT, obviously. I thought maybe we were gonna keep it 3-1 after they scored on the power play. I think the call on Duck for that 4-on-4 that created that 4-on-4 was bonkers. I don't think that was a good call. Why does he get called for roughing? Like if he was either boarding or nothing, not roughing. Like, and he was not boarding. Like, they did not call a penalty on the play. They only stopped the play after because they started roughing Duck. Like, why did Duck get a roughing? He did not do anything. He did not reciprocate. I don't know. That created the 4-on-4. I heard once that the 4-on-4s usually benefit the team that is behind, and I agree. It's just more space, and they're going to take more risks. So probably it benefits them, you know. And they did get benefited by that 4-on-4. They score. And then they were just one goal away. Then the 6-on-5, you know, Montour is just such a nightmare to play against for the Habs. Dude gets 3 points again. He has, I think, 21 points in 21 games was what they were saying against the Habs. he's a defenseman. He has one of the few hat tricks for a defenseman in the NHL in like the last 40 years or something, and it's against the Habs. Of course, dude. He's just so good against us, and yeah, he scores twice, gets 1 assist. It's frustrating. Anyways, we don't have to play him again unless he gets traded. So, yay. We got the 4 points against the Kraken. That's what we want. All right. I'm going to talk about what I expect for the Ottawa game a little bit. But first, let's do our trivia for winning the game. Let's go a little bit further behind. All right. Coaches, GMs, and owners. This is chapter 12. And we're going to do the last question, actually. Question number 20. Initially, Coach Toe Blake rejected goalie Jacques Plant's request to wear a mask during games, but changed his mind after Plant broke his nose stopping a shot. This is a true or false. So again, true or false, and the statement is initially Coach Toe Blake rejected goalie Jacques Plant's request to wear a mask during games, but changed his mind after Plant broke his nose stopping a shot. I'm gonna say true. Sounds like a true story, you know? Like, people don't want change and usually are scared of change. So, but yeah, it sounds true. So question number 20. Yep, it was true. He was not allowed to wear a mask at first. That is, yeah. Well, but then we got the very iconic Jacques Plant mask, which actually, you know, I've learned a little bit of Habs history just with this and, you know, just reading a little bit more. So it's been fairly fun. Okay, that's for the trivia. For the Senators game, I do think they're gonna give the net to Monty just to test him again to see what he can bring. I really want to win that game against the Senators though, because the whole thing we had in preseason, all the stuff, the extracurricular physicality, to say the least, and they've been trying to be our rivals, and they've upset me enough that I want to crush them. I want the Habs to crush them. So I would play Dobish because he's been the better goalie, and I want to crush the Senators, you know. But we're probably gonna get Monty. Hopefully he gets a good game. Proves that he's back in form, you know, and hopefully the team puts a good performance in front of him. You know, I want to see a good game from them. Anyways, I'm excited for that one. It's gonna be a while before before the next game, so yeah, I'm sure the players will enjoy the rest, and I'll see you after the Saturday game. Go Habs, go!